Yes, lads, what is going on? Welcome to Season 3, Episode 30 of The Running Irishman. In this episode, as you can see in the background, we have something a little bit different. I'll get to that now, what has context to do with this episode. We have an episode with Niall Fergus. It is a little bit of a different episode. Niall, still and in his day is a pretty solid runner for starting only at 23 years of age, properly trained at 23 years of age, and playing Gaelic football and other things within that. And to this day, he's still running pretty well, pretty fast. And just compared to some of the other athletes I've had on the podcast, he's obviously not as fast or high profile, but that's not the main reason we had Niall on the podcast today. As I mentioned, you can't really see in the background, that is a child singlet and it says mini athletics on it. And Niall also gave me this mini athletics mascot go-go. This is obviously the mascot for mini athletics. What mini athletics is basically an organisation that Niall bought a franchise in, which it's kind of like a preschool for running. So you send your kids there from ages 2 to 7, around Dublin, around Swords, Dundalk, and Drogheda. Yeah, like you said, it's kind of like a preschool for running. You go there. You send your child, boy, girl, if you have a friend, a cousin, a niece, a nephew, a son or daughter that you want to put into mini athletics. You go there, they do loads of different activities at the weekend, they do birthday parties, and it's just an overall great place to send your child, safe place, and they'll meet lots of new people, get lots of nice things like this go-go mascot, a mini athletics singlet, and also a water bottle, which is really, really cool. So in this episode with Niall, we talk about, we start off with his running career. He did only get into properly training and running at the age of 23. At 21, he ran a 10k in 41:44, which is a very respectable time, and he's also a 16:23 5k runner. Then we get into all the bits and bobs about mini athletics, when he started up, taking the risk, buying the franchise, and a lot more. There are links down in the description below to the mini athletics Instagram and the mini athletics website, so make sure to click them links. Send your child, brother, sister, niece, nephew, friend, anyone you know that you would like them to, or they would like to get into running through mini athletics from ages 2 to 7. And I do really appreciate Niall taking the time to come onto the podcast and have a chat. As I said, it's a really great episode. It's a bit of a different episode, but I did really enjoy it, and I hope you all do as well. So without further ado, let's roll the intro and get into this episode of the podcast with Niall Fergus. Yes, lads, what is going on?
My name is Amy O'Donoghue.
People call me Dr. Josh.
My name's Lewis O'Loughlin.
My name is Isolde O'Donnell.
I'm Charlie O'Donovan.
I'm Abdul Joe.
I'm Scott Fagan.
I'm Mark Henry.
My name's Cormac Dalton.
I'm Paul Byrne.
I'm Michael Morgan.
More than a runner.
The Irish Hammer.
My name's Brennan.
I'm Brian Fay.
It's Dash Bar.
I am a triathlete.
Craig Engels, Cheryl Nolan, Sean Donoghue,
John Rankin.
I got 10th at the World Championships in 2019 in Doha.
I'm doing great, just happy to be on the podcast.
I'm a Man United fan.
Let's get into this episode of the podcast. Yes, lads, so we are here with Niall Fergus. Niall, I really do appreciate you taking the time to come on the podcast and have a little chat. It's a bit of a different guest today, you could say, because lately I've been having, just big runners coming up because of the Olympics, but it's really nice to have someone kind of on a different side of running who knows what he's talking about, and as I said, kind of have someone more on the business side and on a different side of running and a different perspective on it as well, so that's really good.
Thanks for that, Kelly, and thank you.
So for people at home who mightn't be too aware of who you are and what you're all about, do you want to kind of just give a quick introduction?
My name's Niall Fergus. I'm from Dundalk. I live in Dundalk. Spent a bit of time in Dublin there a few years ago, but I'm living in Dundalk. I would have grew up and I would have played soccer and Gaelic primarily. They were the only two sports I played. When it came to running, I only did running on sports days. I was saying, I was quite good at running 100 meters, etc. I was quite good. I'd come first, second, or third in all the sports days. And then we went to secondary school, and I was quite good again. Came first, second, or third, and I got selected for the school team. And we done well. We done well in the relays. We done well in the 100 meters. I think I came fourth in the 100 meters, so I just come outside the medals. And then we done the relays, and we done very well in the relays with our team. We got third overall. Team for that CBS school, we came third, so we were very happy with that. And then I played Gaelic and soccer, and we had a good team in Gaelic, and we reached the minor championship final with Young Islanders. And then when I got into my senior career with Young Islanders, I just basically played with the second team, and I wouldn't have been picked for the first team, so I would have been upset with that. And I played with them for 7 years, and I was, then I got into running. I had done my first ever 10K in 2010. The Dundalk 10K, I done it in 41 minutes, and I said, God, I'm not bad at this running, and I continued on doing it. I said, like, you can do your own training, and you determine how well you do at running. So if the manager doesn't pick you and you still train as hard as you can, he doesn't pick you. That's whatever. That's your own tough luck, or you felt you've done well in training. But I think you can train all you want in running as well, and you determine how well you do. It's just on you. No one picks it. If I turn up Sunday and the manager says you're not on today, you're on the bench, I could be off running and doing my thing and getting better at running, where opposed to not playing football and not on a Sunday. So I get frustrated with that, and you get your own results for running, because I feel a bit more. So I like that side of it, and continued it on from 2010. And then 2013, I took it a bit more serious, and I gave up soccer and Gaelic altogether and concentrated on running.
So would you nearly say that the whole thing of you being able to kind of control, what you put into it, you get out of it in terms of running, is probably the main factor of why you decided to, shut off the soccer and the Gaelic and really focus on your running?
Yeah, as you said, Killian, what you put into it, you get out of it. And you could do your training whenever you want it. It didn't have to be 8 o'clock on a Tuesday and Thursday. It could be that morning, at 8 or 9 o'clock or whatever. I just didn't get picked for the team with the Gaelic, and I felt I trained very hard for 7 years, and I was just always with the second team. So it needed a change. If I wanted to bring it to the next level, or I said, I was a good sportsman in general because I had the fitness. I was the fittest on the team in Gaelic. We'd be doing laps pre-season, and I actually loved the running. So it made sense for me to do the running. It made sense for me to do the running in that aspect of it too. I could see it in the pre-season. I was doing laps around the lads, and I was there like, I'm not getting picked for this team. There's something wrong. There's something wrong there. And then I did the 10K that time. I just said I'd do it. And I was actually with Young Islanders, with the Gaelic team. We done it as a team, and you could win the thing as a team. So I was still with Young Islanders at that point, but I'd done the running. So it made sense when I was doing pre-season, and even when we weren't doing pre-season, doing general drills that weren't just sprinting. I'd be there and thereabouts with sprinting, but longer stuff, I'd be able to go forever.
Definitely. And kind of, you said to me that you only start really taking running properly at 23. So during your running career up to that, what was the moment that you kind of said, right, I'm actually good at this, let me put everything I have into it and see where it can take me?
I finished college. I finished college around that time. I done building surveying, funny enough. I done building surveying, and I finished college around that time. So then I went to live in Dublin, and I was taking it serious probably in my last year of college as well. But then college was finished, and I took it more serious in 2013 when college was finished. But then in 2014, I went up to Dublin. I was training with Crusaders in Dublin, and that was quite serious. We went on the track every Tuesday, and the sessions were intense, and it just got me into a flow. Now before that, I done my first ever cross country season with the Northeast Runners. So I was with a club at that point, and I was training a wee bit with them. and I loved that. And I actually done very well in my first season across country. Now I didn't win anything. I think I came 20 something in Loud, but like it was just a little introductory. And then 2 years later, I came third. And when you came first, second, or third, you get put out of the novice because you're at another level. You can go into the intermediate. I think I came fourth in the intermediate then as well. And then in 2018, I ended up winning the intermediate. So I was very happy in 2018. So I took it more serious when I went to Dublin, and a bit the year before that. When I finished college, let's say, I just said I'd had enough of Gaelic, done it for 7 years, time to do something new. I'd done 2 10K races, and I wanted to take it a bit more serious.
Definitely. And when you did start taking it more serious in terms of training, what was kind of different? Was it, training every day was a higher intensity, was a higher mileage? Kind of what was different compared to the training when you were doing running and Gaelic, just say?
Yeah, so when I was doing Gaelic, when I was doing that 10K, what happened was I was training with the Gaelic Tuesday and Thursday and maybe Sunday. So I might go out Monday and Wednesday, the days I was off at Gaelic, and I would do simple things that people would normally do when they're not into running. People call it the light poles, where you sprint from light pole to light pole, kind of every now and again. That's a very basic one that people, I'll sprint from here to there. I'll go at a nice pace, and then I'll pick it up and kind of each light post or something like that. So I was actually, people say it to me now, and people do it. But it's a very simple thing that you just try and pick it up for 100 meters or 50 meters. And I was doing my training with my Gaelic team, and I just go out on a Monday and Wednesday and do a bit of extra running, a 5 or a 10K or something like that. But then when I got into the running club and I finished Gaelic, it just got a bit more structured. We'd do it 3 or 4 times a week, but you'd be doing tempos, you'd be doing speed sessions, which I didn't really know of until I got into running.
Yeah, definitely. And kind of just overall the fact that you had more of the free time on just say like the Tuesday and Thursdays when, you weren't training for Gaelic, it kind of all just came together then. And with the, higher intensity and higher volume, did you kind of rapidly see improvements in your running, or was there ever a period where you're like, right, I'm dedicating a lot to this and I'm still not getting much out of it?
There was improvements. Like that first 10K, I did it in 41 minutes. Then the following year, it was a year later, I did another 10K because I was still playing Gaelic, so I did it a year later, and I did it in 40 minutes. So it was a minute improvement. So something happened a wee bit there, definitely. Not nothing drastically, but I got it to 40 minutes, and then in 2013, I did the cross country, and then the following year I came 13th. I got wrong. I came 13th, I think, that year. I didn't say it come 20 something. I came 13th. The following year I came 4th, which was just outside the medals. And then the next year I came 3rd. So I came 13th, 4th, and 3rd in 3 years. So I did continuously. It built up, and there was nothing. There wasn't kind of a standing point. I did like, I don't know, I'm probably sounding confident, but there was definitely movement. It wasn't like I got stuck 100%. In a rut or anything. I did have races where I didn't perform well, but on the cross country, or maybe the ones that counted, it showed.
Yeah, definitely. And kind of like from some of the bits of information you've given me in terms of your success at running, kind of your proudest moments, like you can definitely see that you did drastically improve, and you did not only start to see times decreasing, but you also, start winning some big races in terms of Irish standards. So you mentioned the best race of your life was winning Loud Inter's cross country in 2018. Do you want to kind of just walk us through that, kind of what's made it the best race of your life, and why is it kind of your number one pick for your all-time greatest moment?
Yeah, no, it's great talking about it, but I don't want to be too, but I love that I did do it when I did it, and it was mad. The race was mad. I'll never forget it. And I train the college pitches across from my house, and I do laps of the cross country route. So I do sometimes, and you're there like, this is when I made the move. This is when I made the move that I was gonna overtake. And he was actually my cousin. He's kind of actually my cousin, the fellow overtake, Niall Fergus. And there was three of us, me, Niall Fergus, and Oisín, fella Oisín. He was with a different club, but me and Liam are from the same club. And the three of us it was the three of us from the start. And we thought actually Oisín Gibney was going to win it. We didn't think we were going to win it. We thought we had to watch out for him. He was younger and he was good and he was better. But he didn't show up kind of on the day. So the three of us went round, and Liam actually kind of led it for a lot of it. Liam led it for a lot of it, not by much. He wasn't ahead by much, but then there actually became a gap. There actually became a gap between Liam and me and Oisín. We were set off. There was 10 yards between us all. So Liam was ahead, and I was there. Oh, where's Oisín? Is he much behind me? Is he much behind me? And I goes towards the end, the last lap. I goes towards the end, last lap. Niall, forget about Oisín. Forget about him. He's behind you. Look at Liam. He's there. You can grab. Now I don't know what happened. It just something popped into my head, and I said, forget about Oisín. Liam's there, and Liam was a good bit ahead, but I have a good little kick at the end, and I don't know. It was probably 800 meters or 600 meters, and it was a good way to go. But I kicked at that point. There was a hill, and I said, after this hill, I'm going to go. And the hill came, and I overtook him. And he even said, like, it was just a blast. It was just a blast, and it was just like potatoes had fallen from the ground. But I had to keep that up for 600 meters or for whatever it was, a good stint. And I just about held it off. Because he did keep going. He kept going. But I bet him by probably less than 10 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, something like that. But I was over the moon, and people would know I'm a fairly decent runner in the loud, and they would say, Niall, you're still at this intermediate, because you have to drop the intermediate then to get into senior. Well, you're always in senior, but you have to be finished out of that race, because you get promoted out of it, because you don't do it for another 10 years. Then when you can do it 10 years later. But people would see me, like, that was my 8th or 9th time doing that race, or something. Well, maybe my 6th or something time doing that race, and they're like, Niall, you're better than that. You're still doing it. So it was my time. There was pressure on me that I was gonna probably, or there was pressure on me that I had to win it at some point.
And would you say kind of that pressure, played in your favour? Do you like having that little pressure to kind of drive you a little bit more near the end of the race? When you're saying when Liam was a good few metres ahead of you, was that in your head at all to kind of like push you on a little bit to be like, right, I need to win this race. I kind of need to prove a point as well to myself and to everyone else, and that kind of ultimately led to you winning the race.
I think at the start of the race there was there's pressure, but I think once you get into the race and you're jogging or not jogging, you're running and you're going, I think some of it leaves your head and you're just in the game, you're in the zone. But that moment when I said forget about Oisín behind you, concentrate on Liam, because I actually accepted. I goes, I'm going to get silver today. I'm going to finish second. I accepted that, but then all of a sudden it just clicked. And I goes, no, it's not over yet. It's not over. There's one lap to go. And I'm not taking silver today. And I'm going to go for it.
Deadly. And, obviously...
It's hard. Like the pressure, as you said, the pressure. But I think once you're in the running zone, the pressure kind of goes a wee bit. And you're... Like my mom was there and my sister was there and my wife was there. They were all there. And them cheering you on and your club mates, it gives you a lift. So I liked that as well.
Definitely. And kind of obviously winning the race itself would definitely put up on one of your, favourite or one of your best moments in your running career up until this point. But would you say kind of the expectation of you not to win, as you said, you and a few of the other lads in the race are not really expecting yourselves to do as well or as you did or to win, and also kind of the pressure that was on you as well from the people on the outside thinking that you should kind of win and get that promotion to the senior level? Does all that combined is what makes it your proudest moment?
Yeah. It was coming. Like I think that year it was going to come. That year, last year, it was coming. I was in good form. I was doing sub-17s loads that year. It was great. That 2.5 year spell, as I call it. It was a 2.5 year. It was a 2.5 year spell. I come off my Achilles injury, I was not injured for 2.5 years. Then I did get injured after the 2.5 years, but that was all in the middle of it. So I was at my peak, and I was 29, I think, I was just gone 29. So I don't know, when you're around your 30s or in around that age, I know someone else said, my coach said he was 33 or 35 when he was in his peak. But in around your 30s, your mid-20s, I don't know,
Yeah.
around that age, you're going to be fairly good. And when you get past your 30s or your late 30s, you mightn't be, but some people are. But, I think around that 30 age bracket, you have a good chance if you're fit, you've been around the block, you've done it all, you want to put in the hard training, and you want to say, you always want to say, this is my time, and keep plugging away. You could do it at any time. But I think I was in form. I was in form at that time. Everything was going right, and the cross country was coming up, and I won the Loud 3K as well in the summer. So I had a habit of winning, and then there's some people say, don't go out and lead a race because you mightn't finish up winning because you're after bursting your gut. So I think everything went well that day. I don't know if I knew to sat in behind. It just worked that way that I sat in behind and raced beside the guys. Nobody went out in front. Then Liam went out a wee bit in front, and I just sat behind. And then I said, "Let's go." So it was a good time in that time, and there was a bit of pressure, but everything was building up to a good result.
Definitely, and it's still not the only big success or the only big moment in your running career. Like, you did pull a 16:23 5K in Morton Stadium. Is that still your PB till this day?
It is. I've done 16:28. I've done 16:27. So that's 6 years ago. So I'd love to get 16:22 or 16:20. And I bet there was a great runner that day, Anne-Marie McGlynn. She's from Donegal. She's a well-known. She's obviously a female runner, but it was funny. I was on her shoulder that day. It was a graded meet, and they put the women and the men in together in the B race, in the 5K or something like that. And it was good to put them all in together because she's a very good runner. And I sat on her shoulder for the whole race, and then 2 laps to go, she told me to go. She told me, I think she knew I was clipping her heels and I was right behind her, and I could probably go again. And only for her saying go, I wouldn't have. I took the lead out, and I tried to run with all my heart for the last 2 laps, and I just managed to hold on to the win. So that was a great race. I'll never forget that. Don't know. It was my second time beating 17 minutes or going under 17 minutes. Only my second time. I done 16:59, and then I done that 16:23. So it was a good few seconds cropped off it.
So
yeah.
So you wouldn't have really gone into that race thinking that you would have pulled a 16:23 out the bag, or were you kind of looking around that margin?
Probably, yeah. I was in form, but I didn't think it was gonna happen with them seconds. Like, that's 30 odd seconds coming off to 16:59. Just about breaking 17. Now it was on the track, flatter, good conditions, and I had a nice Anne-Marie McGlynn sitting there, tipping around whatever you need to do a lap to do that. So it was, I had good someone beside me to keep it going, company.
Yeah, definitely, and still we're still, for people listening, you starting running at 23 properly, for the success that we still have to go through a little bit more. I was going to leave this question for a little bit later, but do you regret not?
I feel like I'm Sean Tobin here or something. I'm no Sean Tobin. I know the people you've had on the podcast, and I'm there like, I'm honoured to be on the podcast for my little bit of running career and mini athletics. But you're probably building me up.
No, just in the sense that, like, it compared to when you started running. So the times and achievements compared to when you started running, do you regret starting as late as you did? Do you feel like maybe if you started at a really young age?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I don't know, like, I would say, like, I wish my mom sent me into a running club when I was 8 or 9 or whatever, and I don't know, it was just Gaelic and soccer. And actually, funny enough, a good lot of my friends were in a running club.
Yeah. So it was...
And I don't know, yeah, like I don't know, I just wasn't in the running club, and I was doing good times in sports days, and you might have thought, oh, get
Yeah,
him up to the
definitely.
running club. Someone might have thought, but I never touched running, and then I done the pre-season with the Gaelic team, and I was there like I'm lapping everybody,
Yeah,
then 23, and I said I've been at the Gaelic senior for 7 years. I'm finished. It was the right time to say goodbye. But yeah, I definitely wish and thought I had done it earlier. But then obviously and people know that like then people sometimes
yeah,
finish
true.
early when they're doing running. So yeah, it's hard to know, but I definitely wish I had have gone earlier. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, as you mentioned there, like doing it earlier can definitely lead to people, burning out and giving up the sport. But then again, you know, are you willing to take that risk from an early age to kind of see if you have the talent and see if you can take you somewhere? But probably everything happens for a reason, and maybe it wasn't meant to
Everything,
be.
yeah. Everything happens for a reason. Yeah, I wish I did take it up younger. I'm glad I went off in the route with Gaelic and soccer. I do love team
Definitely, yeah.
sports. I love team sports, but I know the grind of going out on a run on your own, and then you do it every day, and then you're there like, God, if you can run on your own and run, say, a tempo run or a good trial, you know, 5K and do it in 18 minutes, then on the day when the race comes, you're going to be able to do it
100%.
quicker
Yeah,
when you're against people. So when you're doing that slog on your own on a Tuesday, Thursday, whatever you want on your own, you're going to be able to run faster if you can do it on your own with people then in a race like you're just going to be able to do it quicker because you're after doing it. Like even when it's raining and it's a terrible night and you're saying, God, I'm not going out in
oh
that
yeah,
rain, it's terrible. But I actually, people, I get up at 6 in the morning or 7 in the morning. You're there like, if you can get up at 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, if you go out in the rain, come race day, you're there like, oh, that was, it was, I'll be able to run a good race now because I put the work in. I've gone out when people wouldn't have
yeah.
gone out, and I've done my 5-6 days training, and I'm gonna do well today. Everything's behind
Definitely,
me.
it's nearly that the race is the easy part, and the getting up at
Yeah,
6 in the morning and doing the run in the cold and rain is the hard bit.
yeah, exactly. Like Mo Farah and all the lads say it. All the hard work is done.
Definitely. Y-
It's turning up on the line, and yeah, and I know that sounds a bit silly what they're
But no, it
saying,
is
but like
true. Yeah,
they've done the 365 days of training. This is one day, and if it all comes together, then
definitely.
perfect.
No, I agree with that 100%. And the thing about doing the work is, even if you don't perform on the day, no matter the caliber of the race, you can still be true to yourself and tell yourself that I did do the work and it just wasn't meant to be today, and then go back to the grind and then
Yeah,
see what happens the next day out.
yeah, yeah, and it will happen. Like runners, I was having this conversation with someone, and someone was saying, oh, I want to get a PB of under 17 minutes, and then they go off and do 17:05 or
Yeah,
17:02, and they'll come home and they'll be so upset, and they'll be really upset, and I kind of used to be like that. And then Neve, my wife, would be there like, don't worry about it. It's 2 seconds, it's 5 seconds. It'll happen. Like as you say, it'll happen. If it won't happen that race, it will eventually happen. You've put in the work and it just wasn't meant to be that day. It will happen because sometimes runners get so obsessed and so upset. Like even you or me, I know any determined runner, maybe even like yourself, will get upset.
definitely.
And
Yeah,
you're right to get upset. You're right to get upset. Get upset for that minute or two, but then
100%.
put it away and just forget about it.
Definitely, definitely. As I said, the golden there is you do have the right to be upset, but not to dwell on it too long. And I say you could say the same about winning. You win a race, be happy for the day, a few days, a week, but then you have to kind of switch back into grind mode again early and kind of put it to the back of your
Yeah,
mind and,
yeah,
and see if you can push yourself
yeah,
even further and win the next race and get a new PB. So winning and losing, you need to kind of, as I say, you can have too much of anything and too much celebration of a win can affect you, and then, giving out about a loss can affect you as well. So you do have to kind of be kind of mature in your running and in your racing to be at the top of your game.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. And even if that cross country and all my great things I've done, I don't want to sit on that
100%.
laurel. I don't want to sit and be like I'm done now. And I have a child, I have a little baby, and you could be like, well, there's more to life, and but I do want to do more. And COVID was last year, and COVID's a bit this year, and nothing much has happened, and I had a wee bit of an injury or a niggle last year, and things are going quite well now at the minute. And I just want to keep injury free and keep ticking away. And I know maybe in 6 months or 4 months, I'll hopefully be in a better place, say in cross country. Maybe I'll be in a peak, and so I'm looking forward to that. That it just let's keep injury free and keep ticking away, and I'll get the PBs, as you said, that I had a few years ago, and that I'm not going to rest with that. I'm going to keep trying harder to beat them. I won't be happy, as you say,
Definitely.
what I had.
100%. And kind of, as you mentioned, you can't dwell on the successes for too long. But kind of just going back to a few of your favourite moments in your career. You did actually get to represent Louth twice, which, no matter what county you're running for, if you're born or if you're living in that county, it's the only county you can represent. So whatever county that is, it's still a really, really big achievement and a really, really proud moment. So kind of, do you want to talk about the first time you got to represent Louth? Because, when it's representing Louth, representing Dublin, representing Ireland, that first time is always going to be the most special. So do you want to kind of talk to us about that?
Yeah, no, I done a draw to 5K on the Friday night, and I got married on the 1st of June, and then a few weeks later, it was 2 or 3 weeks later, then me and Niamh did our first run as a husband and wife. Now, I went off and ran it my way, and she went off and ran it her way, because sometimes we do runs and I'd maybe go through the finish line with her at a slower pace, but I went out and ran it hard enough, and I just done 17:15 now. I ran less I could, and I done 17:15. I think I came 4th or 5th or something, and Tig Donnelly was actually running that day, and I only became aware of Tig Donnelly that day. I don't know if you know him. He runs with Dublin Track Club. He's a very good athlete, but he was only 15 at the time, and I just about bet him. But he was there, and then that day, Brian McCluskey, there's a developer called Brian McCluskey, and he was one of the best runners in our club. And some people say he does runs for money, so he does. So he goes around races to get money for the first coming first. And he wasn't interested in running for Louth because you wouldn't get money. So he said he put my name forward for it, and so I got picked because he didn't want to do it.
Oh, deadly.
So then I raced Sunday. So I raced Friday, and then I raced Sunday in Tala. And I remember Phelim Kelly was there with one or two of his athletes, and one of his athletes won the race. I don't think he's run with him anymore. But he won the race. I think I probably came last or second last, but I done the exact same time again, 17:15. So I did, and then I think 2 weeks later we went to Belfast, Mary Peter track, and I had a great race, because I wasn't happy. I wanted to break 17 that race, and I wanted not to come last, I think, as well. So in the next race, I ran 16:47, and I didn't come last, and I ran a great race, and they wrote up an article about it, and they said that I had the race of Louth. It was the best team, it was the best individual performance from the track that day from Louth. So I was over the moon with the little piece that they wrote up, and I was over the moon that I broke 17 and that my time was better than the other time, because you go through 3 rounds. So there's round 1, round 2, round 3, and then I actually couldn't do round 3, so they had to put in another competitor for the 5K from Louth, and we actually came 3rd overall team then, I found out. So I was mad a wee bit. I have sometimes issues with my feet and stuff, blisters and etc., and I think it was something like that at the time, and I just couldn't do the 3rd leg in Letterkenny, I think it was. and I was mad. But then the following year they asked me to run again for Louth, and I think there was an issue with my feet again, and I had a good year that year, but I just couldn't run that time with them when they asked me. But once you get a call up, they'll ask you again, sort of thing, which is great.
Yeah, 100%. Kind of once you have that status, they kind of always saying go looking for you. So that was handy enough for you. So would you say out of your entire running career, representing Louth was definitely your proudest moment?
Yeah, it was up there. I still like that cross country
Yeah,
win, so I do. I still like it because it was a win, because I
true.
actually won the race, and it was coming, and it was in my backyard,
Yeah.
let's say. It was just across from me, and it was in Dundalk, so I was happy just with where it was when it happened. It was definitely proud wearing the
Definitely.
Louth vest. Yeah, I loved it, and yeah, it was great. And there was the other athletes there from Louth that were great athletes, so you're around a good crowd, and yeah, your peers and etc.
100%, 100%. Then kind of you took a bit of a plunge in distance when you went to Edinburgh to run a half marathon. Kind of what was the thought process around that? Was it kind of the fact that you're just kind of doing running to be the best you can and do it for your own enjoyment, and you're not kind of bet into one distance or one schedule, so you kind of decided to just take the plunge and do the half marathon? Or was it something around your training, something around races coming up? Kind of what was the thought process of jumping into the half marathon?
Yeah, the thought process was I'd lined up to do a half marathon in 2015, and I didn't get to do it because I got injured with my Achilles, and I just always wanted to do one. And when you're a runner, or you're my age, I don't know if you're your age, but definitely when you're my age and you say, "Oh, I'm a runner," people will ask you,
Yeah,
"Have you done a
100%.
marathon?" And you'll say back to them, "No," and then they'll kind of say in their head, "Well,
Yeah,
he's not a runner," and that's people who are not running
definitely.
people. That's someone in your work or in your job or whatever, and they're just saying, "Oh, you're a runner. Have you ever done a marathon? What's your time?" That's just a
Yeah,
basic question that you ask someone, but they know nothing about running. You would say that you, because you could be a 100-meter sprinter, you could be X,
definitely.
Y, or Z.
Yeah,
You're still a runner. But I just wanted to get it off my chest, the half marathon. Didn't want to do the marathon. It was just something I wanted to do, and I said, I'll go to Edinburgh. I'll go somewhere different and do it. And yeah, I put in the extra few miles to do it when I was doing the training, as you said. And then actually, like, I done a 5K, and I done 16:27, and that was in my preparation for Edinburgh. I just done a 5K as well, and it was actually doing the miles and doing the
yeah,
bit more training, and everything was going well. And when I done the 5K, I was there like, God, that was such a quick
yeah.
race. I'm going to do a 13 miles, and that's going to be, big
It's
compared
gonna
to the
feel like what
5K.
5K
But
used to feel like.
yeah, but it was just like, God, that
Yeah,
5K with the training I was doing, that felt pretty easy. Now, I ran at 16:27, but it was just like, I'm going to have to run a hell of a lot more miles in my half marathon. So that was quick. It was a different sort of toughness, but it felt like I'm putting in the miles. I've done loads of miles. This is that was okay to do.
definitely. And
Um, yeah, it was just something I wanted to tick the box with, basically. I was a wee bit injured when I was doing it. I probably could have done a wee bit quicker, but
do you
anyway.
remember what time you got in the half marathon?
Yeah, I got 1:19:56. I crept under
That's actually,
1:20.
I was actually surprised. That's a really, really good time in terms of only being doing the kind of half marathon to marathon training for not too long before that. So kind of, do you have your mind set on doing a few more marathons, half marathons, and kind of bring your training up to the standard it needs for them events? Or was that kind of just a one off?
I probably would like to would like to do another half marathon, or I'll do like to do a marathon definitely in some time in my life. But I actually had a lot of feet issues. I had an ulcer on my foot. I got an ulcer from
Yeah,
running hard in December. We done a time trial, and I done it in 16:35. But and it was a very hilly, low down course. It was very it was like it was a run. There was low hills. It wasn't you were going up a hill, you were going down a hill. So it was a quick course. But I got an ulcer that day, and I was out for 3 or 4 months. And actually, my feet have been playing up on me, so I'm actually looking at going
yeah,
shorter distance. at the moment. Now my feet go good, we'll see what happens, but I like just say the 3K and the 5K. I love the 3K event. So I'm actually going to be concentrating on that. And then I said, God, the 3K, it's not really a race or it's not really an event, but the 3K steeplechase, and I know you've tried the steeplechase. I know, so I might look at doing the steeplechase or just concentrating on the 3K in general and the 5K because it's not so far off it. So just anything in around 5K, and I do like the 3K. I have a loop now around my house and it's 3K, and I done it the other day. I done 11:48, but then I said I want to get that better, and then I went out and done 10:30. So I was happy with that. So I want to concentrate in the 3K for now, and just continue with no injuries and just running good and nice and keeping happy with no injuries.
Yeah, 100%. Well, if you get a spot in the Diamond League, they're very fond of the 3K, so you could jump into a few races there.
Yeah. I'm just going to try and keep. There's actually the Armagh 3K in February comes up, and you have to dip under. They do a 5K and a 3K in Armagh. You have to get under 16:30, is it? To do the 5K or 16 minutes, you have to get under 16 minutes to just be accepted in. But the 3K, it's open. You can just enter.
Oh, deadly so.
But it's very quick. My quickest was 9:20, so I'd love to beat 9:20. So for February, I'll be probably eyeing up that.
Deadly so, kind of. Yeah, at the moment things like races and training are definitely orientated around the 3 and 5K, which in my opinion is it's a good thing to have. Maybe like you have two distances in your head, like two events. You see some athletes that run the 1500 and the 5K, which you can kind of balance each other out in terms of speed and endurance. So I think it's good to kind of have like one or two events that you can really dial your training into and then get the best performance out of. So kind of be happy to see where your times and take you and how well you do in 3K and 5K races down the line. So that's really, really exciting.
Yeah.
So kind of moving on from your running career a little bit into the mini athletics. So I'm gonna let you take over here a little bit, kind of, when you started, why you started, and kind of what's it all about for the listeners at home.
Yeah. So I said a little bit earlier that I did building surveying. So when you say building surveying and then you say mini athletics or kids classes, it probably sounds a wee bit. How did that happen? So I did building surveying. I qualified as a building surveyor in 2013. Put a lot of hard work in, and then I worked in it for 3 or 4 years, and I just kept going from job to job every 6 months, and they just kept going. You don't have the experience we're looking for. And I had to keep on finding another job, and I did keep on finding another job. It was no problem finding the job, but it was keeping the job. So then I got fed up of just looking for jobs, and in that I liked what I was doing. I liked what I was doing. I loved what I was doing, but it just kept going from job to job, and I just wanted to stay in a job and get settled, and so then I said I have to pick a different career. So I said I like sports, and I love kids. I was around my nieces and nephews, and I just said, this doesn't feel like work. I'm just playing with them. It's great. I think you get energy from the kids when you see the kids running around with lots of energy and they're happy, and then you're just happy. God, this is great. I'm making people happy, or making the kids happy. So then I picked working with kids. I picked childcare. So I did a level 6 in childcare. And then I was still doing a bit of building surveying. And then I worked part-time in a creche in the after school. So I worked in after school. When the kids were finished school, I'd do after school activities with them, do their homework, play football with them, do whatever until their moms and dads pick them up, do art, do whatever. See, you could work in after school without your qualification, but you couldn't work in a creche until you got your level 5 or level 6. But you didn't need a qualification for after school. So I did that until I got my qualification. And then in November 2018, I got my qualification. I could work full time. So I worked full time then, and I was working in a creche. That was grand. And then kind of a few months later then, so then I went to a stag. I went to my friend's stag, and there was a fella there, and we just got talking, and I said, I work in childcare, love kids, blah, 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 blah. I love running, I love sports, blah, 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 blah. And I'd say his head was just, it was just like, God, this is music to my ears. Because he was the co-founder of Mini Athletics, and then we just got talking, and I didn't know about this, and then he told me, and I didn't even know what Mini Athletics was, and I just goes, it's kids classes, that sounds great, I like kids. I done a bit of coaching anyway with soccer, and I liked coaching, and so then he said, go and think about it. You could have Mini Athletics here in Ireland if you wanted. Then I met him at the wedding a while later, and he was there. He was being a bit more serious, and I was being a bit more serious. And then I said, yeah, this sounds great. I said at the wedding, and then we had a Skype or a Zoom call then. And we just said, yeah, let's go with this. And I said, let's go with this. And I went over to England. We done a training weekend, and we signed everything, we dotted everything, and I was bringing Mini Athletics to Ireland. That was in February 2019, and then I brought it to Ireland in June 2019. So I was still working in a creche, and I'm still working in a creche now. So I'm going to work in the creche part-time when I go back in August now in a few weeks. Because the whole idea probably would be eventually to finish my work, but the only way I can do that probably is by going into schools. So I was in schools during the week before COVID hit, because you have your weekend classes, but you want to build up a lot of classes and a lot of schools and whatever. The more work you have, the more business you'll build, and the better Mini Athletics will be, and then you can become full time. And I'm doing a lot of work as it is, but I suppose it's not bad. It's good having a solid job that'll always be there, maybe in the creche. So I'm just keeping it for now and keep my options open, and COVID's still around. So if COVID wasn't around, maybe I would give it up, because I could go into the schools. But I do have a lot of work at the minute with the weekend classes. We're in Dundalk. We've been there for 2 years. We're in Drogheda. We've been there nearly 2 years. And we're in Dublin now the last 7 weeks. So we're in Alsa. We're in Swords, and it's going great, and the kids love it. And the Olympics is happening now, and we did some Olympic torches.
Yeah, I've seen that over on the Instagram.
The kids absolutely loved it. There's a competition. We're going to pick a winner at random. So it's not going to be who is the best torch, but it's just going to be a winner at random. Will win like a Mini Athletics pack, which will have a go-go in it. It'll have a go-go in it. Here's go-go here, or a little mascot or gazelle. And it'll probably have a water bottle. So it'll have a water bottle. I might have to turn on the light. And it'll have a shooting star. A shooting star is this thing that we use just to throw in Mini Athletics. It's pretty cool. I think you might get a vest, but you'll get a whole just range of Mini Athletics stuff basically.
Deadly.
But the Olympic torch is like the effort the little kids and the mums and the dads are making it's incredible, and it's brilliant, and it's just the kids are getting really excited about the Olympics then, and the kids are there like there's the Olympic rings, and we were drawing them in the summer camp, and someone said there's Niall's Olympic rings.
Class. So
they're getting into the spirit. That's the whole point, and it's great.
Definitely. And would you say the Olympics has helped you bring along business, or just with some of the kids and groups that you've had so far have been getting more into it just because the Olympics has started?
Well, I think I was there I'm only in Dublin now 7 weeks, but I think with the whole competition and the Olympics, I think it's adding to it.
Definitely.
I think it's adding to it. If you are a mum or dad at home and you've seen, these kids are making these torches, God, that looks brilliant. I think it is adding to it, and I think it's a great time. I just landed in Dublin with Mini Athletics, and the Olympics is on, so I think it's definitely boosting it and it's helping it. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah, 100%. And kind of going back a little bit, when you mentioned you were talking with the co-founder of Mini Athletics at the stag party, and he mentioned that you could bring it to Ireland. So you buying a franchise within Mini Athletics to bring to Ireland, would you say that was a big risk, or would you kind of say, you had backup there in terms of working in a creche, and if it went wrong, at least you took the chance?
It was definitely a risk. Yeah, I had to put money into it. It wasn't €100. It wasn't. It was a good lot of money. And yeah, my wife works in. She'd no money. She works in that kind of a job that would be financial and all that sort of thing. So even in terms of Mini Athletics now, she would, give words of advice to me. Because I'm the type of person that would just jump at something and not think about it. But I did think it was a risk. Yeah, it was a risk, and I just thought like, if something happens, I give it a go, and I give it my best shot and whatever, and that's all I could do. So I knew it was a risk, but I said, let's give it a go. And I always wanted to run my own business. I don't know what I put on the light.
If you wanted, it looks alright from here, but if you want,
So I knew it was a risk, but I always wanted to run my own business, and I'm working with kids, and I love sports, so everything ticked the box. And yeah, I am glad I made the choice. And there's a lot of work involved. Like, just because you turn up Saturday and Sunday for the classes, that doesn't mean that's all the work you do. Like, parents message me at 12 at night, or 9, and you have Neve here, and you've my wife here, you've Shannon, and you're answering, and I love it all, because like I said, I wouldn't mind, you have to pay bills and all that, but I wouldn't mind if I didn't get paid for it, because when I see the smiles on the kids' faces, that just makes me live, and it makes me just saying, you're doing a good job, and people say Mini Athletics is great. That just means I'm so happy that it's making people, and the kids, the moms and dads, to be saying as well, she can't wait on a Saturday morning to go to Mini Athletics. And they're there, like, and then I asked her child, they're lovely runners you have. And the dad goes, yeah, she had to get them from Mini Athletics, she said. So when you hear 100%. Comments like that, and they love getting their sticker books and their stickers, they get stickers at the end of every class, like, it makes their day, it makes their weekend. The kids love it, so that's
yeah,
brilliant.
like you said, with you, even though you might be only doing the classes Saturday and Sunday, you have work behind the scenes nearly where you kind of have to be working. But it's also the same with the kids nearly. As you mentioned there, one of the girls, had to get the shoot from Mini Athletics. So it really, how much they enjoy it and how much it means to them isn't only for the few hours you're there at the weekend. They're bringing it home with them. They're talking about it with their parents. They're talking about it with their friends. So I'd say, the fact that it's not something that they have to be kind of dragged to, as some young people do in terms of sport, and they're taking it home with them, and you can tell they're really enjoying it. It must be really refreshing, and it kind of shows that what you're doing and the hard work you put in is paying off.
Yeah, like Kirk is the co-founder, him and his wife, that's from England, and he would say, like, Mini Athletics is about giving a positive experience to a child with sports, them coming to a sporting thing and them getting a positive experience. You don't want a child coming to a football pitch, or say back in the day or something, I don't know, it might have happened, people got shouted at, or
definitely.
But like, whatever, we just want a positive experience given to the child, and sports is good, sports is brilliant, come again. It doesn't have to be to Mini Athletics. The kids, we want them swimming. We want them, if they come to a Mini Athletics class, if they do a few classes, if they come for a year, great. It's just a stepping stone.
Definitely.
It's a stepping stone. And I would say to the kids, if they're 7, when they're old enough, when they're at me, then go send them to Clonif, go send them to Dunleer, go send them to St. Gerard's in Dundalk. They're great athletes. So that's, we're a stepping stone, and they can go play Gaelic soccer. I don't mind, just as long as they're still in the sport and we give them a little help in that, and etc.
So you could say nearly mini athletics is like a pre-skill to when you go off and join an actual team like Clonliffe. Well, not an actual team, but more of a club where you go off and race like Clonliffe or another team.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And if there's very good athletes there, like I sometimes their mom and dad can see that the girl or boy is very good, and they're very good. You might say to the parents, God, they're gifted. That child is gifted, and the mom or dad can probably see it. But you'd recommend for all the kids to go to Clonliffe or go to Dunleer or go to St. Gerard's, go to an athletic club, as you say. But sometimes you can really see, God, if they don't send them to athletic club, you just let the parent know that they are brilliant. They're something I haven't seen in a while, or sometimes you do see them, but you might only see them every 2 or 3 months. But they take it away. That you just see it that they're brilliant.
So if a parent just say was to take their child and bring them down to mini athletics for the first time, kind of what would be the situation like? What would the child be introduced to straight away, and kind of what would the entire process be like for someone at home who's listening who might have a child thinking about putting them into mini athletics?
Yeah, or even their nieces or nephews or a friend, anyone. Yeah, as you say, 2 to 7 years old. So what would happen is they'd come down to Alsa or Drogheda or Dundalk, and they'd come to the class, and we do a little introduction where they're just having fun. They're throwing shooting stars around, they're throwing javelins around, and then we'd sit them down and we do a little warm up, and maybe they'd wake up our little mascot Gogo.
Deadly.
So then we'd get into a game and we'd demonstrate and we'd explain the game, very good, very well explained. But what we do is you get them to use their imagination.
Yeah.
So if we had a dinosaurs game, we would say, kids, you have to get all these dinosaur eggs, and we have to place them in the dinosaur nest. So if we just said, there's all these cones here, we want to put them over there. The child, if you say it's dinosaurs and the child is mad into dinosaurs or whatever the team is, it could be in the jungle and it could be cheetahs. So we could be running around like cheetahs, or we could be going up tall like giraffes. So it's just that the kids are using their imagination. We're not saying run to there, do this, do that. The kids, if you give them imagination, if you give them some sort of a background, and you say, we're dinosaurs today, we have to get the dinosaur eggs into the nest. That's going to give them, oh God, this is great. I will have to do it so quickly. And, they have to use their imagination, and that's the whole key. And then we do races at the end, and they're crossing the finish line. It's just all fun and games. And that's the big thing about it. It's fun, it's inclusion. We just make the most of the child, and they're the special one in the child, all the kids that are doing it.
Definitely. So it does sound like, as you mentioned there, if the team is like dinosaurs or cheetahs, compared to saying, right, pick up them cones and put them over there, that sounds more like a chore that you'd be asked to do at home, nearly like tidy up after you've been playing with your toys or whatever. So it's to give more of a kind of less chorey vibe, you could even say, to it, and a more fun vibe that the kids at that young age can really relate to.
Yeah, and then when they're older, we put them in team events that, like, this team is the Velociraptors and that team is the T-Rexes, and we give them team names, but they'd be competing, a wee bit competing, so it would become a wee bit competitive. And then we do relays, so after each age group it becomes a wee bit competitive, but with the 2 and the 3s, it's just that they're having fun. Now, at every class they're having fun, but you can see when the kids are getting older, 5, 6 and 7, you can see they want to cross the finish line before the next child.
Definitely.
So we tailor to the child's age, and you make it a bit more difficult if you said, like, we're just running to the finish line, but now we'll throw a hurdle in, and you'll have to jump over the hurdle, and then you'll have to cross the finish line. That you can see that the kids need a push, and they just aren't going to be satisfied with running. This child can do more.
So for someone who's watching or listening at home, like, and they have someone, a son, a daughter, a niece, a nephew, a friend that is thinking about putting their child into mini athletics, kind of, do you want to give a bit more information about it in the whole, where they can get in touch and like, you know, kind of the requirements as such, and you know, where you are based?
Yeah, so we're based in Dundalk, Drogheda and Swords. Dundalk in Dundalk Young Islanders in the GAA pitch. Drogheda, Brookfield Park, and Dublin in Alsa. And we might be going to other places, but you can book us on www.miniathletics.com. So it's miniathletics.com, and you just once you're going from an Irish phone or an Irish laptop, it'll direct you to Ireland, because you can also book to England, but you won't be booking to England. You'll be booking to Ireland, because it'll pick up that you're booking from Ireland from a device or a laptop. So you'll just say, I want to book a class. You click book a class, and then you can click whether I'm going to Dundalk or Dublin or Drogheda, and then you can pick whether you want to do 3 classes, or you want to do 6 classes, or you want to do 12 classes. And you'll get a little mini athletics vest once you sign up, and you'll get the vest off the coach. You'll get it off me, or you'll get it off one of the coaches. And the classes are 45 minutes long, and you know, they're great fun. We have a different class each week. Once the child does 27 classes, they'll get a big certificate. So you know, 27 weeks is a long time. But some kids do get certificates, so it's great to get their certificate, and you'll get a sticker each week. So basically, if you get 27 stickers, you get a big certificate at the end. But the kids love coming. They love getting the stickers. They love doing all the different events, and you know, as you say, buying their runners for mini athletics. It's just they love a Saturday or a Sunday when they're doing it, and I think it's all about the coach. If there's a good coach delivering the class, the kids will come back.
Definitely. Yeah, 100%. It's kind of like in school, you know, if you have a teacher that you get on with, you'll look forward to the class, but if you don't get on with them, you'll dread it. So
exactly.
It really does broaden just from running, you know. There's different ways you need to keep the kids entertained and enjoying it, so they'll hopefully pick up that certificate to do the 27 classes. But from that information there, I will have links to the website and the Mini Athletics Instagram down in the description. For, you know, over on the Instagram, you do have pictures of a lot of the kids competing and the activities that they do, so people can have a look for themselves to kind of see and show the kids at home if it's something that they would be interested in and want to get into. So as I said, all the links are down in the description below. And you know, Niall, I do really appreciate you coming on to the podcast, taking the time out to have a conversation. You know, as I mentioned at the beginning, it was definitely a different perspective of running. Not only were you know, you are still a pretty solid runner, but you also have the more business side as well to the sport, which was really interesting to talk about. So I do appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you, Killian, and thanks for having me.
No problem at all. And for everyone watching and listening at home, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you all next time. Bye. Grand.